wish I could
He
see.
is 1 year old as of last week.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Also, sup. Welcome to the Sports Yammer. I am a Sports Yammer. Welcome to the Sports Yammer. I am the Sports Yammer. I am your host, Matt Brown. With me, as always, is one half of Hanlon Squared, Ryan Hanlon. Ryan, how we doing today?
Good, Matt. How are you doing today?
We're doing great, Ryan, and we're gonna get to that in a second. And Jay Tholomew, Jay, before we start doing show and before we start being facetious and all that jazz, Jay, how are you doing? And before you answer that question, Ryan, we need to give a round of applause and some congrats to Jay because on Saturday, Jay graduated with his master's.
Heck yeah.
Jay, you tried to keep it on the down low because you're a dirty, evil sociopath of a human. But Jay, congrats on getting your master's. You worked really hard for it. I remember I saw John Moses, our GM from Ryder, working on your recommendation letter. You took us off on this. You were making sure you were getting on camera. You were making sure you were getting behind camera. Like, I just remember talking to you and hearing about some of the work you were going in. Jay, you completed your master's. You have as many degrees as me, but you have more important degrees than me. And you didn't do this in your 30s. Jay, how are you feeling, my guy, after completing your master's?
I appreciate both of y'all for that. That was really cool. Thank you both. That was cool. I feel good. And what's funny is this isn't like an undergrad degree where you from freshman year to like the end you're like, okay, I'm getting to graduation. You want to go out into the real world and all that. Like, graduated before, so this was kind of like that refresher for me, but also at the same time like connection building, resume building, and I would say like from this year I got a lot out of it. Was it as much as I wanted? Maybe not, but it was a good experience. But it didn't hit me that I had a master's degree until I got home. Like, get there, go through the whole ceremony. It was a really cool ceremony. They didn't make us walk in, which thank you. That takes too long, so we just sat down. But yeah, it didn't hit me until I got back in my room, and I'm like, oh, I have no more assignments to do. Everything's graded. I have 2 degrees, and I was like, I still have one more class I have to take for the summer to finish it off. But it was like, this was a really cool moment, and didn't hit me until I got here. So it's been a nice like weekend to like really sit back and enjoy it. Get all the people saying congratulations, like always great. Just to kind of be like, huh. Even if you're not front center, even if you're not always talking to people, like people are still going to give you a flower. So I have had a really cool support group. It's been really cool days. Let's see what happens next. That's the part that everybody cares about. I feel good.
Well, Jay, as John Moses said to me when I graduated from Ryder, as I'm sure he said to you, it won't happen necessarily on your timeline, Jay, but good stuff is going to come your way. You're a hard worker, and you've already also got some connects, and you did. You did the right stuff, man, which was you expanded your resume, which, that's the name of the game when you're at institutions like that. We've had many a classmate that did not do that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So seeing you succeed like that, man, it makes me so happy. So, like I said, we're gonna immediately transition into show. But Jay, you tried to sneak that by me, and I'll eventually find it in my heart to forgive you.
But I had to keep it a little under wraps with the Canvas shutdown. I wasn't sure I passed everything. I had to make sure that I was still.
There was a Canvas shutdown,
bro. So the week everything was due, Canvas got blocked out. So
Ryan, sorry, just real quickly for the audience and for Ryan. Canvas is like the software that like every fucking university uses for their assignments.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
So that shut down right before one of his last ones was due.
Yes.
Why did it shut down?
Someone hacked it.
Oh my God.
So someone hacked it. They got into everybody's personal stuff. I think Temple came out and said that they had access to like names and like grades and stuff like that. No, it wasn't anything crazy. Like,
okay, that's good.
But they were working on it for like a week and a half, and it was so crazy because I'm like on my phone and I'm getting all these alerts, and I'm like, why is stuff getting graded now? And so like my heart starts pumping because like, listen, like this is the last few days of the semester. Like either I pass or I fail, and I can't take these classes till next spring. So I'm like, all right, like we gotta see what happens. So for a little bit, it was a little touch and go, but yeah, they got everything figured out over the weekend, which was really cool. But for a minute, I was like, listen,
What?
I'm still waiting
You were
on like
sweating.
3 stories to get graded.
Bro, that's awful. That is awful. That's why I don't like hackers and stuff like that, man. That's terrible. Well, you survived the great hacking debacle of 2026. That's the only bad thing that's happened. That's the only bad thing that's happened this entire year.
It's actually the only bad thing and only hacking event that's happened this year.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah.
But Jay, for facetiousness aside, and I promise I'll actually get the show going. But Jay, my family, they're all freaking teachers. So I'm always gonna recognize whenever someone does stuff like that. Jay, I'm excited for what happens next.
Thank you.
I'm excited for whatever job you get because
I appreciate it.
you're a good dude and like you work hard and you deserve good opportunities.
Thank you.
Ryan, you also deserve good opportunities. I'm only saying this because something happened to him on Saturday. I promise. The second you get a third dog, I'll say the same things to you.
Oh, please. Hopefully that's a couple years away. I can't handle another one right now.
Yeah, seriously. You sound like a dad. Anyway, gentlemen, sports happened over the past week. And before we talk about the sports, I want to say something that I feel like this is a sign of me aging because I never thought this way before. But like I'd say like the last 2 to 3 years, I've really felt this way. I really enjoyed the earlier rounds of both playoffs, man, because it kind of reminds me of March Madness in the sense of like there's so much basketball and hockey happening at all the times, and it's with stakes. And I'm not talking about ribeye. Like playoff basketball is a hoot, but like, man, I really like these earlier rounds. I know some of these have been blowouts, and I know that some of these have been 4-game series. Go Knicks! But I really like these earlier rounds, man. These earlier rounds have been fun.
No, especially in hockey, we've had like 2 of the first rounds that were like conference championship level of quality. You get a lot better matchups in the first round. And unfortunately, that means you might get some worse matchups later in series in terms of like the conference finals could be kind of some mismatches. But I'm loving what's going on with the Spurs and Wolves. Like that is a physical, hard-fought basketball series, and I am all for it. So like, yeah, these matchups are fantastic. I'm loving them.
Jay, I know the most recent matchup between our teams didn't go your way, but outside of your personal pain, are you still enjoying these? I don't know. Is that an old man take by me? Like, I know the point is to get to the chip, but like, man, these earlier rounds I feel like they're sometimes more fun.
Well, I agree. I think what you're seeing now is that the Eastern Conference finally has the parity that it's been looking for, right? Where past years of LeBronto and just LeBron rolling, we're way past that. But like even going into like recent history, like you look at last year, like I feel like the Eastern Conference was really fun last year with Indiana just running through everybody with these insane comebacks. You have Boston that wins that championship a couple years ago. Miami a few years ago when they were an 8 seed and kind of getting through. Like the Eastern Conference is finally matching energy. We've had a whole bunch of different representatives from the Eastern Conference the last few seasons, which is really good for the sport. We're gonna have another one this year because Indiana's not in the playoffs, so that's been really cool. And then even the West, we knew the West was going to be a bloodbath, and it's living up to the hype. Outside of maybe like the Lakers Thunder series, but like going back to Ryan's point, that Spurs Wolves series is going to be very entertaining. Regardless of who wins, I think like both these teams want to play each other. They look like they hate each other right now. Very physical. That's the way you're going to play Wemby. Wemby had the right reaction yesterday. I mean, don't hit people in the head or don't hit people in the throat with your elbow. Don't do that, children. Right? But if you hit a man so many times, eventually he's gonna hit you back, and that's what happened. But it's been fun. It's intensity. Going even back to last round with Detroit and Orlando, with Philly and Boston, both of those series were just incredible. Atlanta, New York, incredible watches. So I feel like if you hate basketball, it's not even basketball. If you hate the NBA, then you're not gonna have fun with this. You're gonna find something to complain about at the end. But I've been enjoying it so far.
One thing I've really been enjoying is this weird run by the Knicks. This run by the Knicks. Let me tell you something, friendos. After being told to be worried about Joel Embiid and about how it's a better matchup for the Sixers than for the Celtics, woo! I did all my gloating yesterday, so I'm honestly not going to do much hanging on the rim. I'm more just going to laugh in disbelief. Because part of it is I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. I both feel part joy, but then I also feel partially like Mugatu at the end of Zoolander when he's like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. That's how I felt watching the Knicks play competently against the Hawks even after coughing up a game, and then how they played against the Sixers. Because even when they're going up against teams that they quote unquote should beat, they don't always, cross the finish line. They don't always perform up to snuff. And then not only did they show up for this series, they ended it early. They played well. And then they inspired their fan base so much that for the first time since the 1800s, there was a mass migration in America. But this time it was just from New York to Philly. It was weird. It was funny. And it was, oh no, there goes my microphone. It was mainly a lot of fun, but also I just felt like Ricky Bobby at the beginning, because all I'm doing right now is quoting Will Ferrell movies. Also, hi, Kyle. I hope you're having a good day. I hope dinner was good.
Yes.
I feel like Ricky Bobby at the beginning of Talladega Nights when he's getting interviewed. I do not know what to do with my hands. And it's simply because it's not just LOL Knicks win. It's also guys, the Knicks, I know that and yes, I know it's the Knicks and they still have an opportunity to nick. I have not forgotten about that. Do not think I've forgotten about that. I've watched this team for far too long to ever forget about that. But it's freaking me out because the Knicks are operating so competently. Look, do I think they're going to win the title? I don't know. Honestly, I still think it's going to be OKC, unfortunately, which just sucks. But, the Knicks are playing super competently. I know they got to watch out for Detroit because Detroit did have their number during the regular season. But according to a lot of NBA insiders, including Amin El-Hassan, Detroit, they're potentially regular season good, not real people good. But I also don't know about that because the Knicks lost 3 times to them. But, I'm not trying to overlook the next round, but I am also just more dang, I have never seen the Knicks act this competently. It was crazy. It was wild. They didn't have OG Anunoby, who was arguably their best player, worst case scenario, second best player the last month of the season. And Miles McBride stepped up. That dude is going to get paid over the offseason because his contract is up with the Knicks. So he's going to get paid by someone over the offseason, probably the Kings or the Nets. Someone's going to give him way too much money, which good for him. Get your bag. But, oh, my God, the Knicks, they're in the conference finals again. They're playing so competently. And with Mike Brown as coach. What a weird time to be alive, especially as a Knicks fan. Jay, the Sixers lost in 4. Philadelphia got annexed, much like the Dutch did way back when they came upon New Amsterdam, now known as New York. Jay, how are you feeling after that series?
This season felt like being awake during surgery, but like a minor one, it was like I got a vasectomy, and I was like, this doesn't feel good, but at the same time, I have they're not gonna put me to sleep for it, so it is what it is. And then we made the playoffs, which threw me off, and that was just them going all right, well, we are almost done, Mr. Johnson, and I was like, let me leave. So it just felt like we extended a season that was kind of already I'm not gonna be like Celtics fans, be like gap year. This was not a gap year at all. But this was very much like I felt like the season was a wash back in August. And that was mainly because we didn't know what Joel Embiid was going to be this year after last season, and he played like 30 regular season games, which was more than I even like could have guessed. And then we made the playoffs, which threw me off. We beat the Celtics, which that doesn't happen like ever. And I think that's where kind of things changed in my brain, where I was like, they have a shot. And the Sixers did exactly what they always do, which is when at the moment you think they're down and out, and then they all of a sudden give you like that little kick of hope, just to then flush it right back down the toilet. They were like, you thought. And that's all we needed from you, was to believe. You spent your hard-earned cash, and that's all we needed. So it's not bittersweet for me. I'm actually very happy the season ended. I wish we had a better draft pick, so we could have just lost in January, and then we could have had an actual pick. But we don't do those things, so it was more just like annoying because I was like, dang, we're gonna lose to Boston. Then we beat Boston just to lose to the Knicks. I was like, you could have saved us the embarrassment, kept the draft pick that wasn't moving anyway, and get the season over with a month ago. But it is what it is.
So I want to ask you two things specifically about the Sixers. One about the fan base, and then one about the team. The one about the fan base, it's based off of what Josh Hart said. Now, I personally think he was just talking junk. I think he was just saying stuff. I don't think he means that. I genuinely think that. I'm not like trying to be nice because you're my friend. Like, I genuinely think he was just talking guff. Like, Jay, you and I have interviewed athletes. We've watched enough. Like, athletes sometimes just like they sometimes just say stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes they say stuff knowing that they're saying stuff. And I feel like that's what Hart was doing. Because he's also from Nova, and like there's the Nova Knicks, and so like Philly is like, you know, kind of hurt that they're Nova, but also New York, blah 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 blah. But I was laughing at it because I found it hilarious, and I also know part of it is because the tickets are cheaper than Madison Square Garden. But like Jay, 2 consecutive games, the Xfinity was taken over by New Yorkers. Like the freaking baseline on game 3, it looked like the Garden, man. Like Tracy Morgan was there, Spike was there, Stiller was there, Jenner and Timmy was there. What? Like, I don't want to be too open-ended, but like, why did that happen? Because that was really weird. Because like Philly is not a bad fan base. Like, they're objectively not. Like, are they weird and do they occasionally eat cow poop? Yes, but
I'm sorry, what?
Horse poop. Horse poop, Matt.
Yeah, it was
horse
poop. It was horse poop.
Does it actually happen?
Yes, this was after their
Kyle, it was when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. A guy ate horse poop.
Yes, this happened.
How did I miss this?
You missed that? Oh my God, it was amazing. He ate horse poop. Ryan, do you remember when the Eagles won their first Super Bowl and the guy ate horse poop?
Oh yeah, that shit was insane.
Yeah, that shit was insane, and it probably tasted that way too. But my point though is that sorry, digressing though, back to the original point. They're not a bad. Philly is not a bad sports town. They're not. Yeah. They're loud, but they're not bad. Like, that's objectively not true. Yeah. But like, it's still bizarre that they let Xfinity get annexed. Like, that was weird. Well, but like, Xfinity got annexed. Like, Jay, why did that happen?
A few reasons. The city doesn't love the Sixers as much as they love the Eagles and the Phillies and the Flyers. And the second reason is that New York fans they make more money than Philadelphians, and they can just hop on a bus or hop on a train or drive however they want to, and they can just kind of take over the city because they have the average median households higher in New York than it is in Philadelphia. And also, I just think that Knicks fans are just more passionate about their Knicks than Philadelphians are about their Sixers. Like, genuinely are waiting for the Eagles season to start because it will give them something to root for after the Phillies are just bad right now. The Flyers, like, in comparison against Carolina, like, that place was orange, very orange. So I think a lot of it is that people are sick of, like, just the Sixers. Like this is not the team that I watched in 2019 when they were going on crazy home win streaks and they just could not lose at home. And then you go into the playoffs and it was the same thing. Like it was a whole lot of blue, a whole lot of red, whatever the color was. And I like that. I don't know what happened to that, but I think it's just been, you go past the last 8 years, like it's been exhausting. You go from the Ben Simmons drama, you go to the James Harden drama, you go to the Tobias Harris contract, the Jimmy Butler sweepstake. Like it's been such a insane, annoying, emotional last decade. It makes you not want to root for the team. Like that's just genuinely where a lot of people are. They're like, I would rather not go to we go to the ball game for Chickies and Pete's. We go to the ball game to see who's ringing the bell. We go for Franklin. We're not going to watch basketball, though. That's not why people go to watch Sixers games. And that's unfortunate. And I think that's why it just looked like a home game. This happened a few years ago with Atlanta, when Atlanta just kind of came over, and it was very ATL down when they played, what was that, game 6, I believe? And I was like, wow, like, where are the Sixers fans at? This city wants a real basketball team, and I guarantee you, watch when they get a WNBA team, that crowd's going to be jumping. It might not be full, but it's going to be jumping. Like, I would not be surprised if you see a lot more people who want to pop out and support that than the Philadelphia 76ers, which is insane to say.
I honestly think that's going to be super popular because I also don't I don't know if it'll be an Xfinity, but digressing from that though, because like I feel like maybe Licorice or whatever the Temple one is called.
I bet them a lot of money. Well, listen, Dawn used to coach Temple when they were in the A10. So like, come on, Dawn, come back, come show us some love a little bit.
Dawn Staley, are you kidding me?
Show us some love. She's from the area. She's from the area. She can come.
That's
some love.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. Good for her. That also explains why so many. It's like, oh, you're from the city. That's why people have with you. Yeah. Now, Jay, I do want to wrap this up so that we can get our other friends involved. But Embiid had like some ominous statements, but you and I were talking about it, how he was kind of just talking because he's been doing that forever. Because also he's got a stupid huge contract. He's making $57 million next year, $62 the year after, and then $67 in the final year. Yeah. Awful contract, just awful contract.
You want to hear something about it?
Yes.
That was an extension. Those 3 years are an extension.
Yep.
He signed that 2 years ago.
Yep. Yes, he did.
So that was unnecessary.
And the last year is last year, I believe, is a player option. Mm-hmm. So, look, this is why I did not fear the Sixers. I just don't care and don't like Embiid, man. Like, I just feel like, and this has been my problem with Embiid from the very beginning, and this is what I hope does not happen with Darren Peterson, just from the get-go, because even at Kansas, you knew his issue was that, like, as great as he was, he's made of fiberglass. Oh, no, bye, Ryan. He's made of fiberglass, and it just seemed like it just nothing ever worked. The only time it kind of got close, not even kind of, the only time where it seemed the most cohesive was with Jimmy, which is why when Jimmy ended up leaving, it was so jarring because like that was like his best like teammate, because it like truly like raised the level of the Sixers and also gave them an identity. But like it just feels like even when he won the damn MVP, like I did not think he should have won that. Like I just feel like you're trusting a busted and, like, for lack of a better term, a busted and broken guy. You have Maxey, but like, is Maxey good enough? Because I like for all the guff I give Embiid's ceiling is an all NBA player. I don't know if I can say the same about Maxey, and Maxey is looking like he's going to be your new one because it's not going to be VJ. Although I will say VJ, I hated his defense. So glad I don't have to see it anymore.
To pretty much touch on the whole Embiid thing, the reality with Embiid and his contract and what the team is right now is that you can't trade him because whatever you get for him will not be as good as what he provides when he plays. Regardless of if it's good, bad, or other, the gravity he has, the way teams have to guard him, the ability to get teams into foul trouble, to get your bigs into foul trouble, you don't get a player like that in a trade. Are the wheels off and on? Sure. The wheels, these are new wheels. These are not the wheels that came in the package. We bought new wheels, sold separately. Like it's a very tough situation, but you could have solved that problem when you go back and give him that extension, which we didn't need to do then, but it was whatever the case we did it for. That's Josh Harris's fault. So to your Maxey point, the hard part with Maxey is how many guards are winning championships at 6'3"? The only one I can think of off the top is Steph Curry. Like it's just not going to happen with him. The way he plays, the amount of minutes he has to play, because when he's not on the floor, the offense doesn't score. So like you have to play him, and that's why I'm like, this draft pick is so important because it's going to give him a third option, hopefully a third scorer, but at minimum it'll be a third option for him to defer to, and hopefully that will give a little bit more leeway to the offense, because the offense was very bad this entire postseason. This wasn't just in the 4 games they played against New York. Throughout the first few games against Boston, we saw it multiple times. They got blown out. Like this is a team that refuses to score the basketball. So I think for me, you have neglected a rebuild for the last few seasons, because you wanted to retool after the whole Jimmy Butler thing, really after the whole Ben Simmons thing. You've been trying to retool, and it hasn't worked. And now it's time where we press that button. We say, okay, cool, we tried. You finessed your way into a draft pick this year. Hit on this draft pick. Don't overthink it. You have 22. Yeah, it means you got to watch 21 people go. You're going to know who you're getting at 22, bro. So don't overthink this draft pick. You'll get the draft pick next year with the which is the Clippers. They own it, so we'll see how they fall. But we'll get that with that pick next year. This is your chance. You're getting one last chance to kind of reset things, and then go from there.
Kyle, your thingy's up. What do you want to say?
Yes. Question. Jay, what would you be willing to give up on your team to move up in the draft?
Oh man, everything that's not so. Originally, my statement was everything can go, but there's really no money tied. But everything can go outside of VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, and Joel Embiid. For the right price, Joel Embiid, I can part ways with, just because we need something. Like, you're not competing in the next few seasons with the way this team is set up. You would have to run it back this year and next year with Paul George and Joel Embiid. You're not winning a championship with that, in my opinion. Joel Embiid would have to get rebuilt like the Terminator or something, and that's not happening. And you would need Paul George to be dialed in for an entire 82-game season plus playoffs, which also isn't happening at the age of 36, going into 37 at the end of that season. So, I mean, I think Tyrese Maxey and VJ are the easy untouchables. I think you can find a sucker for Embiid, but I don't necessarily love it because, like I said, I don't know. You trade him, you move up in the draft, you maybe get a player out of it, but like, what do you draft then? Like, where are we at in the draft? Are we top 10? Like it would depend on package, but I think you have to get rid of Kelly Oubre. He's I believe a free agent, so it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to find something to put on this bench, because the bench is abysmal, and you need to find something to put next to Tyrese and VJ that can score, that is taller than 6'4", preferably taller than 6'6", and then can defend, because that's the other thing we lacked this entire postseason.
That leads me to the other part of this question, though, is you're saying Tyrese Maxey is untouchable, but Matt was clearly saying he doesn't know what he can be as a number one if Joel Embiid is not there. What if giving up Tyrese Maxey gives you a top 3 pick? Would you be willing to go with VJ Edgecombe and a Boozer, start off young, because you know that it's not going to be a championship window at this moment?
Oh, honestly, with your permission, Kyle. No, sorry. So I'm so sorry. I thought you were mulling it over. No, only because Kyle, I want to adjust that question. Would you trade Maxey? Not necessarily if it gave you a top 3 pick, but if it gave you a top 5 pick and it meant you got someone like Fleming or Wagner, a point guard to replace the point guard.
I wouldn't do that. Well, here's my take is that we need a point guard because Maxi's not a point guard. I think he's more of a 2. I wouldn't do it just because I think it's easier to put something next to Maxi than it is to replace him, if that makes sense. Like the shot creating's there, the way he plays downhill. I think what you saw in the postseason is he ran out of gas. He plays the most minutes in the NBA in the regular season, let alone the postseason, because no one can score. I think it's easier to put a wing next to him and VJ and then go from there and then like build a team around that than to not even necessarily restart, but restart and then go, okay, well, we get rid of Maxi. You still have to do something with that Paul George and Embiid contract, in my opinion. I think it's easier to just draft here. I can give you guys my draft solution. I have a 2-year plan for this team. But yeah, I think the first thing is like this draft, like you get a Chris Sinak, and then or maybe like a Maurice Johnson, and then you go from there. That solves that 4 position. We didn't have a 4 this entire postseason run. We were running 2 guards and Kelly Oubre. Like that's not gonna do anything for you. So,
dude, Paul George was the 5 at one point.
Yes, because they were like, we're gonna put him on Cat, which Nick Nurse, whatever.
I will say it worked a little bit.
But I think that was more for mobility than anything because he just can move laterally better than Joel can. But like, we don't have a backup. Andre Drummond and Edem Bona share a brain. Like I cannot stand watching them play basketball. We went and we signed Trendon Watford and did not play him the entire postseason, besides when the games are over. That makes no sense to me. We had an entire 4 on the bench, and then we played Dominic Barlow late in the Knicks series, which I was like, he should have probably started, but I'm not in charge of the team. I just root for them, so I don't know.
Yeah, Barlow was not bad. Also, I was listening, but also I was partially distracted. The Pistons, they've since scored 8 points, but guys, at one point, I don't know if you saw, Ryan, I know you saw, but Cleveland went on a 25-0 run.
Oh yeah, this is bad.
Like, oh my God. Like, Detroit is battling back, but that's kind of crazy. That's nuts.
Donovan's got 21 in this quarter.
Yeah, he's playing like a man. He's playing like a house on fire. So I do want to get away from this because I don't want to just hang on the rim. Go Knicks. Yesterday there was another game, and it was the Timberwolves versus the Spurs. And here's my take on that game. And I think this the Timberwolves and the Nuggets is fun, but I think with the Nuggets first round exit and how they are currently constituted, I think the Nuggets, unless Jokic leaves or unless they do something like huge to like switch it up, I don't think the Nuggets T-Wolves rivalry is going to be a big one in the West. I think they're not going to like each other, but I don't think it's going to be the big one. I think the big one is going to be Spurs and Timberwolves, because that got spicy yesterday. I saw clips of it. This morning. Guys, Victor Wembanyama full-blown elbowed a dude in the throat. He just full-blown, like, and he stared him down before he did it. He stared him down, guys. I know you're distracted because James Harden is trying to sink a 3, but Victor Wembanyama went full-blown 1997 WWE. He looked around, saw his target, and went, boom! He brought it back to the 90s. That thing that every old man on TV talking about basketball wants. Just throwing elbows in the post. He did it. He took someone out. That was hilarious. And what was even funnier, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but all of my sports coverage this morning, before the announcement of the results of that, was Wemby's going to get suspended. Wemby has to get suspended. Wemby's going to get suspended. He has to get suspended. And then what happens?
Nothing.
He doesn't get suspended. Oh, my God. That was amazing and hilarious. Look, first things first, kids, don't get into fights. But I will say, man, I love that those two teams don't like each other. I like how young they are. Ant versus Wemby? Are you kidding me? Give me that for a decade, dude. You're gonna feed families. And I'm not just talking about the gambling losses. Like, oh man, because what I think is fun too, and they were talking about it a little bit today on Levitard. Shout out to my toxic Lord and Savior. This is potentially going to be the only year where Wemby is going to be like minorly like likable, because like I think of moments like this, I think of moments where he posterized Draymond and then he got in Draymond's face even more. Guys, I feel like I feel like we're going to start seeing I think we're going to start seeing Dark Wemby come out, and I think we're seeing the beginning of Dark Wemby because of this series. Kyle, did you see Wemby completely just take out a dude's throat?
Yeah, but hot take, you're really going after Naz Reid. Out of anyone on the team, you go after Naz Reid.
He doesn't like him. He had to take his throat out. He was like, I see your neck, and I don't like it. Kapow.
Hot take, I think it's because he's afraid of Anthony Edwards. If he did that to Anthony Edwards, this would have been a bigger problem.
I don't know, because he's like literally picking on someone his own size, though, with Naz Reid.
No, I get it, but it's no, it's. I was kind of making the joke, but also like I don't know. I do like this series a lot. I'm glad that it's 2-2 right now. That way we can get a lot more of this. I'm honestly kind of surprised how hot the T-Wolves have been recently. I don't think, even as the T-Wolves advance, I don't know if they get past OKC. But at this point, it doesn't really matter to me. I'll take 3 more of these games to see what the heck happens. And yeah, it's really cool to see how stacked the top of the West is still with new young talent.
Yeah, it just completely changed over like it was nothing, and we already got fresh rivalry matchups there, and you do love to see it. Ryan, I know that you're distracted by this game because now the Pistons are only down 12 as Duncan Robinson picked up his 3rd foul though. Ryan, did you see Wemby just full blown take out Naz Reid's throat? And do you think is Wemby going to stay likable, or is this the beginning of Dark Wemby?
Yeah, I saw it. At first, I was surprised they gave him a flagrant 2, but when they slowed it down, you can see him see Naz Reid, and then he made the decision to follow through with the album. Like, oh yeah, that's definitely got to be a flagrant 2. What I really was kind of annoyed by, you can see him on the bench being like, "Why am I getting kicked out?" I'm like, Wemby, you know the rules, dude. Like, that was all for theatrics, and I was like, come on, man. Like, I'm not into that. Like, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
That I did think it was objectively silly that you see you can see that Harrison Barnes is mouthing the rules to Wemby, and Wemby's like, "Oh, I guess I gotta go. My bad."
And I also kind of want to talk about what his coach said
that was so weird
at the interview. It was I was like, you're complaining about the physical play, and then you're saying that you had kind of, in no uncertain words, you kind of said you had no problem with Wendy defending himself. But then later on in the press conference, you also said that you don't think he did it on purpose. So talking out of both sides of your mouth doesn't really work for me. And also complaining about the physicality of this series. Let's be real, if this was in the 80s or the 90s, this is a pillow fight compared to what went on. So I don't want to hear about the physicality being too much. This is basketball. At some point we got to stop with the ticky-tack stuff and get back to playing 90s style basketball where you go down low, you're going to get beat up. And that's just the name of the game. I'm sorry, bringing that back. That's when NBA was at its best. That's when the ratings were the best. It's when you had guys literally beating the crap out of each other down low. And, I don't want to hear about the physicality of the series, even though for the time frame we're in now, it is a physical series. It doesn't hold a candle to what we saw in the 90s. In terms of Wemby being Dark Wemby, I don't know if we're there yet. I think he might need to get some more accolades and get kind of the NBA kind of sick of him, see him win stuff before he can go and turn to Dark Wemby. I think it's a little premature, but definitely don't mind seeing Wemby stick up for himself, but at the same time, like your coach can't be saying that you don't think it was intentional when also he's defending your actions.
Yeah, that was weird because then also they're saying we taught him to do that, but also it wasn't intentional. And it's just like, because also like Jay, you and I like watching grown men get into scripted fights as well as real fights. Shout out to Hamzat. But like Jay, I'm sure you saw the clip. Like Jay, he looked at Naz Reid, like he looked for his target, and then he whipped it. And he's, like we've already been talking, and by we I mean like the league. The league has already been talking about how the Spurs are ahead of schedule, and some of my media, they joke about Wemby, how he's going to ruin the league with his play. But like, Jay, are we at dark Wemby, or is Wemby still likable?
No, I think Wemby's still likable. I think there's two types of people. There's two types of people who watch Wemby. I think there's people who want him to be the greatest player to ever touch the court, and then there's like the realists. And I think like what's happening is him getting beat up the last two series, not just against Minnesota. Like he's been getting whacked. When they were playing Portland, he was getting whacked. That's how you're gonna guard him, right? When I go play pickup, I'm going tomorrow. I'll show you all the bruises. I'm gonna get hit. I'm 6'3". I'm gonna get hit. It just happens. It happens to us. They're gonna throw their body at you. They're gonna slap down. They're gonna push. They're gonna grab. It's gonna happen. And Wemby knows this because he's been playing pro basketball his entire life. Like I don't know why he was confused. Of all people, that's why Luka makes me angry. Luka, you've been playing professional basketball since you were 15. Cut it out. Like, I don't think it's gonna be dark Wemby. I agree. He's gonna have to win some stuff. I don't think that it's just gonna be, oh, you're throwing elbows and stuff. The main reason people don't like Draymond Green is not because he kicks people in the balls. It's because he kicks people in the balls and then he doesn't make any shots on the other end. If Wemby kicks people in the balls and makes shots, I think he'll have some fans. But I think, just like, to be serious, like I don't think we're at that point yet where people are going to be out on Wemby. I think it's crazy that he thought he could get away with an elbow that high up. If he would have hit him in the ribs, maybe it's a flagrant one. But hitting someone in the head, neck area with that much impact is going to be a flagrant two, like in 90% of the time. And he's just got to adjust. He's going to have to find a way to score, be effective. The best way to impact your team is to be in the game. So he now knows, like, I'm not going to be able to get away with that. So let's adjust to that. They're going to be physical with me. I got to be strong. I got to be physical back without putting myself in trouble and getting ejected or worse, suspended. So,
yeah. And like Wemby's like basketball IQ, considering like how young he is, because I think he's like what, maybe 23.
Yeah, we're around the same age.
Yeah, like his IQ is like, I'm curious as to like what he's like outside of basketball, because like at a young age, like he's very much like a prodigy, and not just because he's tall. Like he's also like a savant, because like we see in like NCAA, like there's mofos that are the size of him that do not play like him, that cannot play like him. But like he's kind of a basketball genius already, and he's only 23.
And you know what's one thing that shocked me with him? Watch him run up the court. For someone that's that tall, like, you don't see a lot of people that can control their body like that at 7 foot.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid's a perfect example. Jokic, a perfect example. It's very like silly bodied, sloppy bodied. He moves with speed and intent at 7'4". Chet Holmgren doesn't move like that. We've seen a lot of footers come through the league. They do not move how Wemby does, and that's, I think, the coolest part is, the shooting's fun. The fact that he's tall, he dunks the ball without jumping, he can block every shot, but he moves like a point guard. That's the concerning part with him. And you're right. It's almost like he was like built, not just like born to play that. He was created in a lab for this moment.
Oh yeah. Now, speaking of created in a lab for this moment, Wemby doesn't come into the NBA without the NBA draft. That's what we call a segue, gents. The NBA draft lottery was on Sunday, and Kyle, don't skip ahead. We're going to get to your conspiracy in a second, because Jay, when you're done, Jay wants to add to it. because Jay, I told Jay your conspiracy, and Jay did some mulling, and he sent me some thoughts, and so he wants to add to it when you're done. But before we get to that fun stuff, I want to ask you guys. Ryan, I'll start with you because Ryan, I feel bad. I've been mainly talking to Jay, and I love Jay, but I also love the rest of you. So I want to
love
make
you
sure.
all too.
Yeah, I just want to make sure we have converses. What are some of your? Actually, no, I don't want to do that. It's too vague. One of the big stories outside of what Kyle wants to talk about was DeBance's reaction to the Wizards getting the pick. I think that's a non-story. I think he just had a neutral face because he's a college kid that's like, okay, I guess I'm moving to Washington. Damn. DeBance to Washington, potentially him being salty about it. Non-story, right? Like that was.
It's a non-story. Then he'll be super excited come draft night. How often do these you only get to just like one first overall pick in each draft, and to be the first overall pick, which we're assuming he's going to be like, it's going to be such a special night for him. Yeah, like in the moment you're like, okay, it's the Wizards. I'm not like super excited, but like you get a chance to go play with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Like that could be fun. If the Banson joining that roster. So, like, I think when he sits down and thinks about it, gets a chance to reflect on looking at the Wizards and seeing what they have on that roster, I think he'll be excited come draft night to play with those two. I think, playing with Trae will allow him to be freed up to be able to play his game and not be the focal point on offense. He'll be able to fit in that second or third role and be able to really excel next to Trae and how long, whatever Anthony Davis can play for, he'll be able to excel against those two guys. So I think it's a good fit for him to go to a place where there's not going to be a lot of expectation right away to be great, because you do have established all-star, veterans in that locker room. So I think it's going to be a good fit for him in Washington.
So, okay, damn it, I just had it and I lost it. I'm so sorry. Oh, no, now I remember. Well, this is also what confused me about people trashing Washington getting the pick and trashing DeBance's reaction. Like, all I heard was that, like, I remember hearing this when they were making the AD trade and the Trae Young trade, that they were sneaky putting together a squad and that, like, Sarr was actually panning out. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar, but Sarr as a 7-1 center, he's like, I heard the second half of the year, he's actually a guy and that he's panning out, which, like, if you've got a 7-1 center that's, like, actually good in this era of the NBA, you are freaking dangerous, especially considering he's young and he's under control. And I also believe, and this is what also really confused me about some of the trashing I saw over the weekend. I believe some of their executives are from this current Thunder regime. Like, they're a splinter group, I believe, from this Thunder regime. Who is a member of the Thunder that's going to be a big free agent? Lou Dort. Yeah. Who's going to get paid and will not be going back to the Thunder because they don't have the cap space? Lou Dort. Who's got money and needs a defensive like a guy that can give them a defensive identity and a veteran winning presence? Lou Dort. Like, that's why I didn't get the hate. Like I get it in the sense of, like, LOL the Wizards because they've been irrelevant, and John Wall was there the day they got their new number 1 pick. But like the AJ not liking Washington story, it didn't make sense to me because, like, Jay, I know that you made the argument today that you think they should potentially think about trading it, but like DeBance to Washington, I feel like Washington getting the number 1 pick, this is low key as great a year for them to get a number 1 pick as any year. Like I can't think of a team that was bad that got the number 1 pick that has been in this kind of position to, like, be relatively successful the following year, if that makes sense.
I think everything makes complete sense. When I texted that, I was more. Oh, I was serious. They should trade the pick, but also, like, they don't need the pick. But you draft AJ. Like, I don't think that's crazy. You draft AJ, you go from there. It would be interesting. This is just me kind of having fun because I'm a Caleb Wilson fan, but it'd be fun if they got Caleb and they kind of let AD bring him up. which would be really interesting because then they'd have a wealth of bigs. But AJ's going to be able to do a lot with Trae Young setting the table for him. He obviously can score. We saw in the tournament, but also they have a lot of guards coming off their bench. Like I like how their roster set up. Like they'll be fine in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, they'll be fine in the Eastern Conference, but like I also think they're like I don't think like if they draft AJ, they're probably 3 years away from like being like annoying, but like I could see them if all goes well, and that's even factoring in an AD injury here and there. But like if all goes well, I could see the Wizards being back in the playoffs in like 2 years, man. I mean, like look at the Pistons. Like Cade, like they were the worst team, what, 3 years ago, 2 years ago? And now they're the number 1 team in the East.
Well, even to add on that point, we just saw Charlotte go to the play-in and make it interesting against Orlando. So like,
yeah,
it's possible.
Wizards could sneak into that play-in game if everything goes well on that roster,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be annoying to play.
Yeah.
Trae Young,
Like again,
Trae Young gets hot for 2 or 3 quarters, and they're moving on because Trae Young can put up 40 in a heartbeat when he's hot from 3.
Yeah, no, exactly, and that's what I'm trying to get at. That's why I didn't get like the poopa doopin on it, like yesterday, and then like some of today being like, it's the Wizards. They've been trying for years. They suck. It's like, well, they made some bold moves, and they made some bold moves with both in mind that they were tanking, but also these moves were also clearly for the future, and it worked out. Like because like the other teams that tanked similar to them, it was Brooklyn and oh gosh darn it, who was the other team with the lowest odds? I can't remember.
Memphis?
But yes, it was Memphis. But Memphis, they finished third, so they're not they didn't get a top pick. Like tanking didn't work because like that's not what the Wizards did. Like the Wizards were like, this isn't our year, but they still put themselves in a position where like down the line they'll be competitive because like they'll also have money. I'm sure Lou Dort won't be the only move they make. Like I feel like AJ to DC, because then also if you have like a wing like AJ become a guy, oh my God, DC will love him. Are you freaking kidding me?
And that'll give Trae the chance to play just like pure point.
Yeah.
Which would be, I think, a really good move for his career. Will extend his career where he's not like having to do everything on his own.
Yeah, the thing though is that Trae's got to get out of his own way because, like, isn't that like part of Trae's problem? Like, he's kind of his worst enemy sometimes.
Yeah, that's why you sit down and kind of talk to him about this. Like, hey, like we're drafting AJ. We brought AD in. Like, this is a chance for you to play like a pure point guard style of basketball. We think it'd be good for your career. I think you'll have less wear and tear on your body. You'll extend your career. Like, I think it would be a great move for Washington to get AJ in there and take some pressure off of Trae, especially coming off the injury. He was shut down for most of the year.
Kyle, we're going to toss it to you, and then afterwards we're going to get to your conspiracy, which I loved, by the way. Kyle, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm not saying he's going to become LeBron, but, like, I feel like AJ going to the Wizards, I feel like the Wizards are, like, low-key primed for, like, a turnaround within the next 2 seasons if all goes accordingly.
Yes, I think you do have to take the history of the Wizards into account. As Bomani Jones has said, I don't believe he has seen the Wizards in the conference finals in his lifetime. If I remember correctly, something like that.
They haven't.
So
they haven't for like 50 years.
So like there is that, but there is a young core there is a decent core for the band to work around and then eventually lead. Unfortunately, you do have street clothes there who, the next time that he plays a full entire season will be the first time in a little bit. I am excited to see him there. Would have been more interesting to potentially have him across the street with the Jazz, probably. But I think there is a decent amount of talent there. I think it's. I don't know if it's going to be like a first year in the playoffs kind of thing, but hey, the East, the East is like somewhat open, so why not?
Now, Kyle, we're going to stay with you because in the NBA draft, the other big story was the Pacers lost their pick. They bet big by going after Ivan Zubac, and the Clippers were going to get their first-round pick unprotected as long as it fell between 5 through 9, and it literally fell on the 5th. So that means the Clippers are, at least as of right now, projected to get the point guard from Illinois, Keaton Wagler. Kyle, you have a very interesting conspiracy theory. And before you go into your conspiracy theory, I'm just going to tell the audience and our lovely co-hosts, when the NBA is taking action against you and they're punishing you and they're garnishing your picks, they cannot take away picks that you got in a trade. And with that information, Kyle, go.
So before I get to that real quick, I don't know if anyone has seen this Kevin Pritchard tweet that came out, the Pacers president. But yeah, he was like, he was like, I thought the luck was on our side. I thought the odds were on our side. That's why I did this trade. But and basically apologized. I was like, well, congrats. You got this, and you don't have a top 5 pick in the one of the best drafts that we've seen recently. However, here's what I'm thinking. We have talked about the Clippers a couple of different times throughout the NBA season with the whole aspiration debacle that was happening with Ballmer and Kawhi, and basically it's fairly certain that Ballmer circumnavigated basically circumnavigated to give Kawhi money outside of bounds to be able to be on the team, right? For lack of a better term. We still have yet to see any particular penalty for this, and they had ample opportunity during All-Star weekends being in the Clippers Stadium, but they chose not to. But as things keep getting worse and worse, I feel like they have to eventually do something. Now, if you are Ballmer, who is the wealthiest owner in the NBA, you got a lot of power. And I don't think that Adam Silver wants to have his wrath. So, what if you give them the number 5 pick? The fact that the Pacers could only get a top 4 pick to survive, and they happen to be the 5th. I think they're doing this because they know that something's going to happen to Kawhi, whether they're going to have to trade him or he's going to get punished. And to appease Ballmer, they're giving him the number 5 pick, so that way he can basically start anew.
I forgot my mic was muted. Sorry, gents. Absolutely forgot my mic was muted. What I was saying, though, is going off of that was I wondered, too, if they're going to do that as a way so that, as a quid pro quo, so that Ballmer will accept a suspension. Because the development on the story that Kyle was talking about, that story that no one cares about except for executives and basketball nerds. That story about aspiration by the Clippers, forgive me if you already said it, Kyle, but it won a Pulitzer. It won a Pulitzer for audio reporting, and it was going up against stuff investigating the current presidency and Gaza. It was going up against some hard-hitting reporting, and it beat it. It beat it. So that, kind of all but 110,000% confirms the reporting. Silver is going to have to take action. Like, he's going to have to. I know Silver never does anything, but like now something has gotten pulled on him. So now he can't like weasel away. Like now he's going to have to do something. So as a way of like, appeasing them, giving them the 5, because then they'll get Keaton Wagler, who's really good, and that'll at least hypothetically give them a piece to hypothetically begin a rebuild. Now, Jay, you wanted to add to that. Now, Jay, add to that. Let's hear Kyle hear it and then react. Sports Radio.
So, Kyle, first off, I really like this conspiracy theory. Like, I like the idea. So I wanted to add to it because coming out today, which has pretty much been a theme all regular season, was that the Milwaukee Bucks are looking to trade a certain disgruntled superstar, disgruntled in quotes because who knows, a certain star in Giannis Antetokounmpo because they want to move up in the draft. And a little thought popped up into my brain. I said, well, there's a certain team that's having trouble with like what they're going to do with this whole investigation. What if they made a play and said, all right, Milwaukee, we'll give you this 5 pick in exchange for Giannis. And I think my only caveat with this idea is that in the event that there is action taken against LA, which I imagine there will be, and they somehow void this trade or whatever the case may be, the trade doesn't go through, is it'll open up, all the cards will be on the table for what it takes to make a Giannis trade happen. So then teams are either going to say, oh, well, we're not paying that much, or a lot of teams are going to find ways to be the highest bidder. But that was my idea. I was like, what if Milwaukee calls up Mr. Ballmer and says, hey, we heard you have a little bit of trouble. We have something that might be able to solve your potential rebuild or anything like that. And he's a Finals MVP, regular season MVP, All-Star, this, and a third.
I like that. I like that a lot. That would help out Ballmer a lot, and they would get a number 5 pick to basically restart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that.
Man, that 5 pick is so it's smelly.
Mm-hmm.
It's smelly. It's the kind of smelly smell that smells.
And here's my thing: is
smelly.
Like, assuming, let's say this happens, right? Let's say Milwaukee ends up with the 5 pick. What do you draft with that? Like, do you get Acuff? Where do you go with that?
Well, I mean, at that point, you're probably starting from the very beginning. What's his name? Miles, from the Pacers that they signed.
Miles Turner.
Yeah, Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't like. He's kind of like all you have. Like, who the hell else is on the Bucks outside of Giannis and Miles Turner?
It might be a fire sale.
So, like, yeah, it would probably have to be a fire sale. So, yeah, it would probably just be best available. So, like, 5 if they're going best available, and best available only got drafted. At 5, at 5, it would either be Acuff or it would be Wagler.
I would probably go Acuff.
Yeah.
Can I add to this conspiracy?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So there was the whole thing last year about Anthony Davis getting traded to the Mavs. And because of that, people were thinking that they got the number 1 overall pick because they sent Luka to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What is the way to make people think like there are no conspiracy theories happening? You give the Wizards the number 1 overall pick with Anthony Davis on there. Because it's like, oh, this is just a coincidence that this has happened.
Right.
And then it's a smokescreen for the fact that they are giving the Clippers the number 5 pick.
Dude, your third eye, Kyle. Like you need to get you need to get an eye patch for it because it is too open right now.
And then now the Jazz are going to trade for Anthody Davis because they haven't got a number 1 pick in so long.
Well, the Jazz. Well, I'm already seeing headlines that the Jazz are apparently thirsty for the first overall pick. Like they apparently want to try and do a swap with with what the hell are
Washington?
they called? Yeah, those guys. The one south of Philly.
Yeah. Not the rest of
But
the team, just them.
Give me
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Give me for 40.
but like supposedly though, they want to do a swap, which like I think everyone always knew that. Everyone always knew that the Jazz they want to keep Debansa in Utah, and I don't think the Wizards are going to go for Peterson. I think if they have to choose, they'll go for Debansa. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun draft. Sorry, I'm distracted by this game. Also, in
Donovan's got 40.
Yeah, Don's hooping.
he got like 36 of that in his half.
That step back he just hit was disgusting.
He was 0 for 3
That's-
to start the game.
That's crazy. Yeah, he only had like 4
This
points
step
in the
back right
first
here.
half.
Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh, ooh. Oh man.
He's and you know
I
I
like
want
Donovan
Donovan
Mitchell,
Mitchell to
man.
be good. I do.
I think he is good. I think he just unfortunately. I was talking to. I think I was talking to. I can't remember if I was talking to Ryan or if I was talking to my coworker about this, but like I feel like Donovan is kind of like Clyde Drexler, in the
Yes.
sense of like he's a really, really, really objectively good point guard. But if he is your one, you'll get to like the conference finals, but you
Mhm.
will not cross the finish line. But
He's never been to the conference finals.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like as a metaphor.
Yeah, I know.
But if you pair him up with Hakeem Olajuwon, you'll win back-to-back chips.
Yeah.
Like oh man, like Ryan, like you guys are in the Eastern Conference semis and you're in the Wemby converse, not the Wemby. Wow, I just got confused. Oof, I did a thing there. Ryan, you guys are in the Eastern Conference semis, but you are in the Wemby. God damn it, I did it again. You're in the Giannis conversation.
We are.
Like you are in the Giannis conversation. Could you like what like I know you're in the middle of the playoffs right now. So focus on that. If you're Cleveland, if you're Cleveland, don't pay attention to us. Pay attention to the game at hand. But Ryan, let's play fantasy booker. Let's say it all worked out. Giannis on Cleveland. First of all, you'd have to give up. I think. Is it Mobley or Allen? You probably have to give up
Probably
one of
Allen.
them.
Because James Harden will probably opt out as well, which he said he's going to. That'll free up the cap space.
Okay. What? Like, I mean, it's Giannis, so I'm not even going to ask if you would want that. More as a Cavs fan, what would that look like? Because I also think just based on the trade, like maybe you throw in like a player or two, but like I don't think just it would cost you picks, but I don't think it would disrupt your chemistry.
No, it wouldn't. I would worry about the spacing a little bit, just with Mobley and Donovan and Giannis. I mean, you'd have to figure out a way for Donovan to be effective without the ball in his hands a lot of the time. I mean, I would love to see it. I would have to think over the fit. I just don't know how the mesh would be. Now, if you can get LeBron to come on like that minimum to kind of play point forward to free things up, now we're talking.
We're doing
Now
this
we're
right
talking. I'm just throwing it out there. Tonight could be LeBron's last game in the Lakers uniform. Like
He's not
throwing it out there, guys.
He's not going to do it until Bryce comes into the league, and Bryce screwed that up by taking a redshirt year.
Just saying. I'm just saying, LeBron, Giannis, and Donovan. Like Donovan could play off ball with LeBron, kind of like Kyrie did with LeBron, a bona fide go-to scorer.
For 1 year, that would break the East. That would break the East, and like would just be so loud. It would be so loud, and I would be and I would watch it. I'm not gonna lie, I would watch it. I like LeBron on the East Coast. What can I say? I miss him on the East Coast. Oh my God, Jay! I just realized there's a good amount of your like basketball viewing life where like LeBron's been on the West Coast. That's awful.
Wow.
That's awful for you, Jay.
Wow.
7 years, like 8 years of your basketball viewing life. you've had to stay up past midnight to watch LeBron James.
Oh, I wasn't watching LeBron James. I don't watch LeBron play basketball.
Oh, dude, I love. I
don't
mean,
know.
I
I
know.
love like
I know,
early years
but-
LeBron. Oh man,
See,
I mean,
go
I don't
ahead.
either, but it's because it's in the West.
You know what's funny is when I was a kid, like, LeBron was in Miami when I was in like elementary school, like middle school. So like everybody, Sixers sucked. So everybody was just like tuned into like watching Miami. And so, as I started watching basketball and playing basketball, I didn't care about LeBron. My favorite player, and still remains to this day, is Chris Bosh, because
Oh, I love
everybody
Bosh.
watched Miami, but I just like
Okay.
Chris Bosh.
respect.
Dude,
Yeah.
Miami's run was gonna be longer if Bosh didn't get hurt.
Oh, it's so unfortunate.
Like if he didn't get the blood clots.
Yeah.
Speaking of blood clots, not actually speaking of blood clots, more so I can keep Ryan engaged because I already got him a little bit engaged. Ryan, we're gonna talk some hockey.
Do we have?
Ryan.
A lot.
Ryan,
I know.
Ryan, what so I do have a Sabres question, and then I have an overall Stanley Cup playoffs question. Here is my Sabres question. You said that you were worried about Montreal, and it's looking like your fears are unfortunately coming true. The Sabres are down 3-1 in the series.
2-1.
2-1. Sorry, I can't count. I have a communications degree, not a math degree. You mentioned all the way back in January that you'd be happy with this, a second round exit. So, like, they're doing that. They very much exceeded expectations. What's happening in this series that's causing them to falter like this? And when/if the season ends in this round, how do they address that going forward? And I will ask you my Stanley Cup question when you're done answering this one.
What is going wrong is I would say a culmination of a couple factors. A, the Thompson, Tuck, and Krebs line is just getting shut down by the Suzuki line. Suzuki's the Selke finals for a reason, and this top line is just not producing whatsoever. I think Tage might be hurt and kind of playing through an injury. He just doesn't look the same. He hasn't commented on it. I think when he was asked in the locker room, he said it's none of your business, which kind of confirmed to me that he is dealing with something. And what I was worried about also was Montreal's just overall speed as a team. The type of game we want to play is what Montreal is very successful at doing, but they have, I would say, probably a little bit higher end talent on their top two lines with Caulfield, with Suzuki, with Slavkovsky. But they're also getting that secondary scoring from Newhook and Bolduc, which we quite aren't getting that secondary scoring yet. Dobish just made quite a few fantastic saves. He's been really good. Montreal's been able to get to the front of the net with really no resistance to create screens in the power play or to redirect shots. There's a breakdown in Sabres communication on defensive pairing, and especially on our third defensive pairing with Stanley and Timmins. Logan Stanley's he's 6'7", 240, but he cannot skate with Montreal right now. So whenever him and Timmins are out on the lineup playing on that third line as of the pair of defensemen, like they are just getting skated around. Like they just cannot keep up with Montreal speed. And it's leading to some odd man rushes for Montreal, which they're capitalizing on. It's just that in the Sabres top line, it's just not scoring. Like you need stars to score, and Tuck and Thompson are just not giving you anything. It's kind of hard to win a series when two of your top paid players are just not producing at all.
So the end is unfortunately close for Buffalo. Best season though in like 15 years. What does Buffalo have to do to sustain this level of success? Is Ruff coming back next year? He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, no, he's not going anywhere.
Okay.
If I am Buffalo, I am circling back to St. Louis to try to get Robert Thomas again. I think you need a more dynamic second line center. I like McLeod a lot, but I think he's better suited as the 3C instead of the 2C. And I think I would like to move on from Josh Norris as well. Like paying someone $8.5 million a year when he's only giving you like 40 games a season is just not conducive to a winning recipe. And I think you need someone who's a little more available, a little more dynamic, who can also help you on the power play, which is seeing some improvement in the Montreal series, but overall is a big problem. I would also like to see our power play coach, Seth Oppert, fired into the sun somewhere where he can never return. He's terrible. I want to see that drop pass go away forever. I hate that thing. I don't know why they keep doing it. And I think you need to get a little more speed in your third pair defense. I think you need to give Kesselring a chance to win that job. He was part of the Perdurka trade that brought Josh Stone as well. He's been hurt all year, so he hasn't got a chance to really gain a groove and kind of work his way into the Sabres system. I think giving him another year to get healthy and to be that right shot defenseman who can skate and be a puck possession and puck mover on that third pair more than Logan Stanley, I think will be a huge benefit. And I think I'd like to see Hellenius up in the roster as either a wing or a center. I think he's ready. But the biggest thing is, what do you do with Tuck? Tuck's a free agent. He's asking for $11.5 million for someone who's in his early 30s. I don't know if you can go 11.5 for something like that. You know, he's a Buffalo kid. He's from the area. He's the heart and soul of the team. But I don't
11
think
per year, though?
Yeah, that's what he's asking for, 11.5. He wants Adrian Kempe money. Yeah.
Dude, you give that
a lot.
Like in the NHL, that's like giving a pitcher in baseball $35 million, man. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's
as productive as he is.
That's top line money, man. Like that's top of the league money. And like respectfully, like I know I don't know as many hockey names. Ryan, I don't think that dude is top of the league.
I don't think Tuck's worth 11.5. I think Tuck's probably worth more in that 9.5 to 10 range, especially with the salary cap going up. And it's kind of being proved in the playoffs where he's not producing, especially in a series when you need him to be one of your best players, because that's what you count on him for. The series isn't over. You win tomorrow night, it's 2-2, and you have home ice again. But nothing I've seen over the last two games gives me any sort of confidence that the Sabres can come with a fix in 2 days. No, I could be proven wrong. I think there could be some regression to the mean. I don't think Montreal's that much better than we are. I think they're a better hockey team, but I don't think they're 6-2 or 5-1 better. I think the Sabres have been a little snake bitten. Dobish has gotten some lucky bounces his way. He's also made some great saves. And I think you need to really think about putting Kesselring and Metza as your third pair defenseman, move Timmins and Stanley to the bench just because they don't have the speed to keep up with Montreal. Maybe you see a turnaround, but I'll answer the question. Overall, I think even if we lose, I think going out second round would be a successful season. Not going out like this, though. This would leave a bad taste in my mouth. Being blown off the ice by a team that you split the season series with, and you really weren't that much worse off in terms of like goals for, goals against, like power play, penalty kill. You guys are like pretty even. I think being blown off the ice like this would leave a bad taste in my mouth.
So I have my Stanley Cup question, but Kyle, you kind of look like you want to get in here. How have you?
Yeah.
Just get in here.
So I had a realization yesterday because I don't really have a basketball team, and yes, I am technically, as Matt says, I am legally a Yankees fan, but I'm not someone who like goes out of their way to watch them. Right? This to me is the first time in a very long time, as a Buffalo fan, that like the playoffs just hit a little bit differently because, like, with the idea of football, right? It's one game. You have to suffer through all the emotions, and then you just move on to next season, right? There is, as Brian says, there is still a chance that Buffalo can win this series. They're not 100% different from the team that was so hot in the middle of the season, right? Just need to find that groove again. And again, they did win 4-2 the first game and did get the first goal in a minute and a half yesterday, right? There are some signs that the offense can do it, but the problem is that it feels like they're really having a hard time trying to get any sort of offense. I think at one point in time it was 23 shots to 13 shots. That's not. So if it is a situation where this is what we're seeing from Montreal, they're just going to be overwhelming, and the Sabres lose the next 2 games, it feels really weird to me because I'm realizing, like, oh, we might be the worst team, and now I have to wait 2 more games for that to actually happen. That feels really weird as a Buffalo fan, but not, usually dealing with it in just one spurt. Controversial games with the Bills. Now it's like death of by 1,000 paper cuts with the 4-game series. I'm hoping that there is still, Wendy Ruff's a good coach, and I think that there is still a spark left with the Sabres. I don't think they're going to go out like this, but it's definitely not looking good right now.
So I want to circle back, and this will be not circle back. I do want to bring up this topic, and I think this will be the last topic for the show because I wonder if we can get some juice out of this. So the early rounds, the first round of the Stanley Cup, awesome, dynamite, snorted it, loved every second of it. It was awesome. I feel like the second round, it's cooling off a little bit, and I feel like it's cooled off in the sense of I know that they recently did drop a game to Minnesota, but I feel like that was more of a flash in the pan / a blip, and I feel like they're going to be fine. I feel like the second round, and Ryan, I'm curious your take on this. I feel like the second round cemented that like the Stanley Cup is going to be Carolina versus Colorado.
That's what it's looking like. We do have to take into account that Carolina tends to shit bed when they get to the conference finals. So there is always that very strong possibility that the Hurricanes do what they do best, which is just not show for the conference finals.
Yeah.
But if you had to ask me, like, yeah, I think it'd be the all natural disaster Stanley Cup finals.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize that they are both named after natural disasters. That's funny. But like, Rob Brindamore, he doesn't have to like go through his he doesn't have to face his kryptonite this year because the Panthers were injured. Like he's gonna go up against either a Buffalo team that you have concerns about or a Montreal team that you also think is about as good as that Buffalo team. So 42 points for Donovan Mitchell. Get the hell out of here. That's crazy.
What a game.
13 of 24.
Yeah. He was on fire tonight.
He had 4 points in the first half. He had like nothing. That's nuts. That's crazy. What were we talking about? But anyway, the Stanley Cup. Yes, they do poop the bed. They don't have Rob Brindamore. He doesn't have his foe in the Panthers. So like that's kind of like why I think it is just going to be like an easy ride for them because I like that being said, I do think when it's the Avalanche versus the Hurricanes, I do think we're going to get at the very least a 6-er. I think we'll get a 6-er. I think the Avalanche win that though.
I do too.
Yeah. I think it's ultimately going to be the Avs this year. I think they're going to break the President's Trophy curse and they're just playing too well and also go Cale Makar because hockey. Kyle, do you think I don't know, like, do you think I'm off base with that? Because like I feel like we're just kind of waiting for Carolina versus Colorado. Like I know you're also a Le Batard fan, and the last 2 years the Panthers have curb stomped them. Actually, no, I think it's been 3 years they've curb stomped them. Because they didn't make it to the whatever. It's not important. My point though is that like Carolina always finds a way to curb stomp them. Florida always finds a way to curb stomp them, and now they don't have to worry about that this year. Like, I feel like we're just waiting for that matchup.
I mean, the Hurricanes do get an advantage by somehow having played a second-round game before the first-round playoffs were done, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like the fact that series is already over and it's just 2-1 for the Sabres, or for the Sabres and the Canadians. The way the Canadians are playing, if they can keep that up against the Sabres and just blow them out, they have the offensive firepower to pressure the goalie of the Hurricanes. Like I think I don't sleep on the Canadians if they get there. Sabres, I'm not sure. I don't know what the season split was for the Bruins and the Hurricanes, but I don't think that this is so open and shut as we think it is right now. I mean, like this Wild game right now, it's most likely the Avalanche are going to win this, but the Wild have been right there with the Avalanche the whole entire series. So I'm going to say, like, and maybe this helps because the Sabres are actually in it this year, but this has been a really entertaining Stanley Cup playoff so far. And there's a lot of teams right now that I would be excited to see win, even if the Sabres don't do it.
I love the Ducks. The Ducks are like such a great story too. I'm loving this Anaheim team. Plus, the uniforms are sweet. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I am glad that they went back. That they got they went away from via duck foot as the symbol. I'm glad they went back to the old Mighty Duck symbol. I don't care that they're called the Ducks. They're the Mighty Ducks. They're the Mighty Ducks.
Quack.
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 Quack. Come on,
Quack.
Jake. Quack.
Quack.
Quack. Quack.
Quack.
Quack. Quack. Quack.
Quack. Quack. Quack. Quack.
Go Ducks. Jay, we're all in our 30s. Did you ever watch the Mighty Ducks?
You know, that's one I missed. Actually, I think I saw it when I was a kid. I think I saw it when I was real little, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, that was when they were trying to make street hockey the new basketball.
Wow. You know, I had me a little hockey set at one point when I was a kid, put in the driveway for like.
Oh, dude, I loved hockey. It was the only sport when I was a kid I didn't quit. My parents made me quit it because I had asthma and I kept getting headaches.
That'll do it.
Because like I was fast. I don't ask me if I was good at handling the puck because I couldn't tell you because I was a child. But like I was fast. Like I had wheels. Like I could go. And that was also the problem. I would continuously be skating around super fast to the point where I would constantly give myself asthma attacks.
Wow, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, like at the end of every practice, my parents would have to hook me up to an albuterolizer, like one of those one of those machines, like the mask and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I lived on that thing for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, all right, oh damn, this game got close. Did I miss anything? Because I feel like we tackled everything. I actually wrote out a script for the show, and I feel like we hit everything. We even got Kyle's awesome conspiracy that Jay added to. Which, first of all, shout out teamwork.
I do have something, Matt. If we want to go there, but I don't know if we want to go there.
Oh yeah, we have a What's on Your Mind. We haven't had a What's on Your Mind in a while.
Yeah, I found another.
Some chicanery happened with the World Cup, Kyle. What's going on with the World Cup?
Oh, that's not what we were going for.
No, sorry. No. It's not the World Cup. It's the SEC. It's the SEC.
Yes.
Oh, Jay, you'll love this
thank God I also found a tie for this to help out. Actually, literally today, Lane Kiffin, one of our favorite coaches,
Lane,
came out talking about recruiting in terms of LSU versus Ole Miss, right? And saying that he has a diversity edge when it comes to LSU. And his quote was, they would say, "Hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. That doesn't come up when you say Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Parents were sitting here this weekend saying this campus diversity feels so great. It feels like there's no segregation, and we want that for our kid because that's the real world." Kiffin, you're picking the wrong time to talk about this, my friend. For those who are listening and don't know what's going on in the world right now, Louisiana recently went and voted to basically limit access for Black people being able to vote in the state. And I had a whole spiel about this, and I'm going to try to be as well versed as I can. Right? There's a lot of back in the 70s. Bear Bryant was one of the first coaches to integrate his team, and they won a lot of championships, and he became someone very well loved in Alabama. Right? You have Texas Western becoming the first all black team to win the NCAA tournament. And we have a lot of movies based around this, right? Glory Road. We also have Remember the Titans, stuff that shows clearly segregated times in history and sports, right? And one thing about those is that you feel like they're supposed to be period pieces, that they are not supposed to have, that these are lessons that we learned that we don't have to go through again. And because of that, there's this hope of, we learned our lesson, we're better for it. And unfortunately, it seems like history is starting to repeat itself. There's actually, speaking about LSU, there's an LSU commentator who is commentating all of the games, lead commentator, who also is part of the government there, who's parts of the creating this issue. There was recently a Alabama congressman who says that they hope that they repeal the 14th Amendment. We're living in a really, really crazy time, and it's unfortunate that we might have to start relearning the lessons that we already did. And I'll leave you with this. There was a poet named Kimberly Jones who, during the George Floyd movement, was talking about the idea of looking at it like a game of Monopoly, of like, imagine you are playing a game of Monopoly, in the first 400 turns, you don't get to do anything. You are actually helping out the other team. And then the next 50 years, you get a chance to play, but everything that you build is taken away. And then after those 50 years, you finally get to start playing, but the people say you have to play by the same rules. I hope we don't have to keep relearning these lessons over and over. And, I hope that these players who are going to SEC schools right now think twice about actually deciding to be there and play for schools who don't even want their representation when it comes to actually making change.
Just to briefly piggyback off that, because that was very well said, Kyle. We are already kind of seeing it in college football. Like, look at the last couple of national champions. They've all been from the North, because you no longer have to deal with it. Like, why would you go to look, let's just call it what it is. All football programs, whether it's in the North or the South, they do not have a clean history. They don't. That's not excusing it. That's just saying what it is. That being said, the South, especially in Alabama, especially in Mississippi, they very much cling to that questionable history that could make certain groups uncomfortable. And now those groups have an option, and they're opting to not be uncomfortable. And this is what happened. I think you're going to see it more and more with the SEC, which is where this started. So, yeah, no, that was really well said, and I think you're going to see it more and more, which, look, you don't want to come to terms with the gross history. That's fine. You do not have to. You will, though, have to deal with the repercussions, which means you're not going to get as many 5 stars. That's gonna do it all for this edition of the Sports Yammer. I'm gonna actually get more consistent with it. Baseball season is almost done, so I'll be able to be a good boy in terms of setting this up and not looking like a potato on camera. Thanks to all my guests. Also, shout out to Kyle because Kyle finished his semester as well as he got a job in his field. So congrats to Kyle. CJ, we started it with you, and now we started with Kyle. And congrats to Ryan because Ryan has dogs, and those are important. But Jay, you were the first one here, so I'm going to ask you first. Jay, thank you for joining me. Jay, where can the people find you online? Is there anything you want to plug?
First off, just thank you everybody for being here. This has been a really cool last few days for me. I appreciate just everybody being supportive. But you can find me j.johnson_812. Hopefully have some cool stuff coming out on there and j.johnson_media within the next week as I get all my portfolio stuff together. So if you want to see what I'm up to, what I'm going to be doing over the summer, it'll all be over there.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you have a portfolio site, but I can send you over mine if you want, like a point of reference.
Yeah, I definitely do have a website. It's I forget the name of it though. It's probably J Johnson at Wix or something like J Rob Wix.
I will say I have a website, but I asked a contributor of the show, Cassie Vaz, helped me essentially. Ryan, you were the second person here. Ryan, thank you for joining. Ryan, where can people find you online? Is there anything you'd like to plug?
I'm on Instagram at Ryan12490. Nothing to plug. Let's enjoy the rest of the playoffs off NBA and NHL. Hopefully get some good matchups. So be some things to talk about.
Absolutely. And Kyle, congrats on the gig. Where can people find you online? Is there anything you want to plug?
Music Fan 77. Now that the semester is over, and yes, I have a new job, and I'm going to be finally out of the restaurant industry. So I guess if you're in the Boston area and want to see me before I finally leave, hopefully the restaurant industry for good, you can check me out at the Pocari's in Woburn. And hopefully with this free time, I'll be able to put out some more music. And a recommendation for music based around what I was just talking about. There's a band, a collective out of England called Salt. They are no one really knows like every member, but it's like an R&B ish kind of group. And they had two really good albums, kind of talking about some of this stuff, especially during the movement around George Floyd and COVID at the time, and they're called both of them are entitled. They're called Black Is and Rise. Great albums that really just like bring that perspective out there. And I guess Matt, thank you for letting me speak about this because it's not the easiest topic to talk about.
Yeah, no, dude, I know. I'm always gonna let you say stuff as long as it doesn't get us canceled. Luckily, though, we're indie and it's hard to do that, and we don't have sponsors, so we can't piss anyone off. But you know, my name is Matt Brown. I am the host of the Sports Yammer. You can find me on Instagram at Schmatty_B. You can also listen to me Monday to Friday on KRDZ, MediaLogicRadio.com, in the Media Logic Radio app from 6 to 9 a.m. on Schmatty in the Schmorning. That's going to do it all for us. Folks, we will see you next week. Goodbye.